How's it going, guys? This is David Blade Banter, working to bring you specifications you can relate to so you can have an educated decision on your purchases. This one that's checking out from Ocaso. This is a brand that I just learned about really from the Knife Junkie podcast. So he was on there and I was showing off the knife. So this is one that kind of stuck out to me. I like the design, how it now all plays together. Just a very, looks like a complete design for it. So this is going to be the one from Ocaso. This is Ric Valdez for the owner of the company. I learned that he used to be with Cold Steel, so for over 20 years I think it was, for Cold Steel. And then this one is going to be from David Seaton. So this is called the Seaton, or for the mini and the large. So more, it doesn't have any clips on it. So this is going to be just really that fifth pocket, or just drop it in your pocket for carry wise. So there's no pocket clip strength for that, but sits right in there. Also for women's pants that are just ridiculously small for any of those. Now weight wise, we'll get into those a little bit later, but that's going to be how they look. Just for that pivot area, so it works in for the Ocaso. So I guess meaning of that would be the sunset. So that's going to be what that looks like there. So it's a really nice, just really complete design. Everything's transitioned well. Doesn't have anything sticking out for that blade area when it's closed. So just really, just a sweet, just complete design. So large still isn't going to be very large in comparison to other knives out there. So you're going to have different ones, like even the Leak. So from Kershaw. So it's going to be about the size of a Leak for the large variant. And then the small one's going to be smaller than that, or the mini version is going to be smaller than that side. So just a way to look at things. The blade shape is going to be a nice one, so it's going to be a very usable tip for it. The large one had a probably a degree about 35 degrees. Small one's about 30 degrees, so basically that lift up to get that tip in there. So that's going to be about 30 and 35 degrees as far as what you're going to be raising up on. And then just for looks wise, as far as that Kershaw Leak. As far as comparison between the two. So it's going to be kind of sitting in kind of the same realm in a sense, but this is going to be assisted, not going to have the same finishing as you would for the Ocaso side of things, but that's going to be what you're looking at. There is weight relief on the inside of things, so you do have, yep, on this one as well. We got to see just a little bit, yeah, you can kind of see it in there for that weight relief, and this is the small variant or the mini variant. So you're going to have that one, so about 1.7 ounces, and then you're going to have this one is going to be about 2.6 ounces, so about 8 quarters and a penny and 13 quarters. Why again do you do that? So basically that's going to be 8 quarters and a penny. And then you're going to have this one, which is going to be quite a bit more. So you're going to have this one that's going to be about 13 quarters. So the weight on those guys, so you can actually pick those up, get it in hand, see what it looks like for you in your hand. So weight wise, I mean, you're going to have probably about a bug out if you have one of those laying around. That's going to be about 1.8 ounces, so it's going to be about the same weight as this, even though this is going to be on the smaller side of things. Husband and wife team, they have a whole bunch of different designers out there for them, but we'll look at some of the hand sizing so you can get an idea as far as how these might be for you as far as if you do pick it up. So you're going to have kind of a large men's size hand, and then you're going to have that one. So pretty much a large size, and then you're going to have the mini size for adult male's hand. And then you're going to have women's and kids side of things, like that. And then you do have, now even the pinky seems to land on this rear area pretty well. So that's something that's kind of nice about it as far as how you're going to be able to hold it, be able to use it. So it is comfortable in hand and when you're actually holding it. So I have a large size hand and still just using those fingers, be able to get everything. I can even squeeze it really onto that full section there. If you have a larger hand, you're going to be probably over the end, kind of gripping onto that tail. You still have a lot of grip that way for the knife, which is nice about it. There are some finished things that I would recommend. I reached out to Ocaso through Instagram, and then just kind of let them know one of the things. I didn't respond back, so then I'm just going to show it here. Basically for the large variant, so when it opens up, you can see the spine of the blade kind of stays within the whole knife, and it goes over. And it is actually chamfered, so it just stays in there. So it's a nice design, feels very complete. This one, so for the mini, so when it opens up, you can kind of see as far as it's sticking up, and then it pops out, so right there. And this edge is a little bit sharper, so it's more of an unfinished edge. So I would say to just knock that off, so at the highest point, so when it's going over, so it doesn't actually impact anything as far as the use of it, because the stop pin is going to be lower on the knife. So it wouldn't be anything for function, but I think it's just a little bit different for finish-wise, as far as when you're actually using it, to have that not actually bump you in the hand or have anything like that happen to you. There also is going to be the grind side of things. So there's going to be an inconsistent grind for the tip. So you probably see up front there, just quite wide at the front tip area. And this side's going to be more narrow, so you're going to have the inconsistent tip area. And then this one also doesn't have any sharpening type of choil, so more like I guess a old traditional knife. Just doesn't have that there, but just different between it. So being a mini and a large, there's just differences in the actual design execution. So this one kind of has a choil area, which takes up for that sharpening side of things, and then just has a little bit different in the way it's done. So even though it's a mini and a large, for execution wise, I would go with the large variant, and I like the look of it as far as how the design goes together for this model. And it's going to be right hand dominant only, because this is going to be the stud is here and it's recessed on this side for the screw, so you're not going to be able to rotate that to the left hand side. It also is not a standard stud size, so you're not going to be able to just put a regular stud in there, so it's a little bit thinner for that screw. So you might be able to find one to be able to do a double thumb stud on it to be able to do that, but it's just not a consistent one and not able to be switched over because of that countersunk screw. You have two ways to deploy, so thumb stud as well as more of a traditional open, so if you just want to grab the blade and open it up, that works out well. Kind of goes into that gentleman's carry type of setup for the knife too. So that is something that's nice about it. Detent is also different between it. So this one has a fairly light detent, probably about 1 pound 1 ounce, and then this one is going to be pushing it at almost 3 pounds, so 2 pounds 11 ounces. So you can feel that also on the release of the lock. But that's where this one's just very light, so that 1 pound makes it just really smooth, also makes it very easy to disengage, while not having any type of lock issues. So even with that low detent strength for it, it actually does operate very well, even though that's that 1 pound, so it actually makes it very smooth, makes it very easy to open and close. This one just has a little bit more, and you also do have just a really not sharp, but very very straight edge for that liner lock. So when you're disengaging, you can feel it, but it's not anything that's uncomfortable or anything. Or a steel liner lock, it does get a little bit slick when your hands are dry or anything like that. So this is just a very, I still think it's a really nice looking design for the way that it's done. So OS 10A is for the blade steel. You're going to find that on even Andrew Demko's knife. So that's something that probably the Taiwan factory uses on a regular basis, and that's, I believe, the steel that they can still stamp out. So that's going to be one of the reasons why they might use that type of steel for that. And then the specifications on the knife. So if you go over to Ocaso, so you're going to see basically the mini and the large. So mini size, large size, and then the specifications are going to list both of them. So that's where I got mixed up a little bit as far as weight and size. So you're going to have the large variant blades length about 2.75. The mini is going to be about 2.35. And then you're going to have stainless steel, and then you have the black powder coating if you want that. So yeah, OS 10 for the steel. So they say that they get a lot of their materials directly from the source. So I know sometimes there's like China D2 and D2. So now one of the things that you were saying on the podcast was that now the materials are sourced from their origin as far as the main company that actually started with the steel or manufactures the steel. So that's one thing that is nice about it for that ability. And then it is made in Taiwan, designed in Missouri. And then that's going to be some of the sizing. So I showed you the leak already for the size comparison. So we'll throw that right back in there. We do have another one, QSP, that has kind of a similar blade shape right there. And then just some other ones I was going through that kind of might fit in that same line. So you might have a squid in there. This one's going to be the 1929 from Finch. That's also going to be, it's going to be more as well. So this is basically $99 for this guy. This is like $129 when it was available. And then you have like CEO. So that's going to be a thumb deployment method. So very thin for this guy, but might go into that gentleman's carry type of setup. And then one that I don't think many people give it much credit for it, but I like it for CRKT. There's a Piet, I think it was called, and then that is, again, not the same materials by any means, but it's a thumb deployment, more right hand dominant for it. So this might come into the same lineup as some of the other knives, or if you're looking for something similar to that, then that might be an option for you. But this is definitely not as fancy because it doesn't have the same type of scales. These have more of the metal scales. That's going to be the injection molded type of scale for it. But those are the ones that you have, and it's a really I still like the way it looks. I still like the way it functions. Just a little bit of fit and finish type of thing, especially coming out as a new company in that price range. It's just very competitive for the market. So that was some of the notes that I have for that one. But let me know as far as what you think. But that is about all I have to say about that one today.